All right, welcome to Anime Territory. I'm your host this week, Johnny Ruhal. As always, I've got the second Ben in my life, Benjamin Shabbing, and
Hello.
joining us this week, our very first guest, the seventh Ben in my life, Ben Feldick. But we really just call you Pants. How you doing, Ben?
Hi, I'm good.
Okay. So for our two loyal listeners, do you wanna give an intro to how you know us? Most people listening probably already know you as well, but whatever.
Fair. I mean, we're all high school friends, high school pals. Um, know each other through our English teachers, Magic the Gathering club.
I mean, it was technically a computer club, but
Technically,
we really just met before
it
school
was a Magic the
at lunch
Gathering
and played
club.
Magic. So I sort of know you through tennis too. You were 2 years younger than me, and I was on the tennis team your freshman year. I was on the team for a little bit your sophomore year, but did we just always just hang out in Mr. Church's room? Is that really? I can't remember. It's been a long time. So,
It has been a long time. High school was long ago.
So
Memories of days gone by.
I remember talking to you about Mega Man and the Proto Men. Like, you introduced me to the Proto Men, and that was kind of like I kind of know this guy phase. and then we, it's just you've been one of my closest friends since then. So,
Glad that I kind of know this guy qualifies as one of your closest friends.
Well, since then you've become one of my closest friends. So,
You really the seventh Ben?
I don't know if it's 7. There's a lot of Bens.
Is it time to count?
Is it? Do we ever talk about this on the show? How there's so many goddamn Bens in our life?
Your life.
Yeah. So there's my brother Ben. He's the first Ben in my life. He's older than me.
Okay.
There's Shabs. That's you. We met in kindergarten. And then there's I know Ben Meyerholes. I know. Maybe I shouldn't say last names. I don't know. There's a Ben in the grade below me. There's.
Now it's become a minigame for me to figure out which Ben you're referencing.
Ben H, if that helps you.
Got it.
The year below me.
The year below, yeah, I got that one.
Ben Z is 2 years ahead of me.
Yep, got that one.
Yeah, Ben M. I've already said his last name.
Yep.
There's some Bens I met in college too.
They
would be after Ben though.
Yeah, they'd be after. So we're at.
That's 5.
Sorry, that'd be after Ben F.
I'm the 6th Ben.
So yeah, you might be the 6th Ben. I can't remember if there's
another
Ben.
Upgrade.
I think I just got another Discord message. Gosh dang it! From a different group. Can I mute this group?
That was not our fault. Yeah, you can.
Conversation for until I turn it back on. There we go.
Yep.
Okay. So yeah. So I guess we should address the elephant in the room. We're not in the same room. Normally Ben and I just sit across from each other and record into a snowball mic. But I've had a nicer mic, since before we started the podcast, and I've never set it up. But thanks to did I say that we call you Pants? Did I say that?
You did.
Start? Okay.
You did.
Yes.
So thanks to Pants here, I finally got it hooked up, and hopefully it sounds nice. You still have to hear my voice through it, so maybe not so nice. And then Ben, you're using the snowball mic, and then Ben, you are miles away at your own home recording separately. So
yep.
So we're recording through Discord. Hopefully the quality is not worse. It might even get better, knowing how little we cared about quality before. So who knows? Ben, why don't you take a minute to give us a little bit of a background in your tastes in anime? What are some of your favorites? What do you typically watch? Where does you want to? You can probably explain where your nickname came from too, if you want. But I don't know if you've actually seen that show.
Only what we watched when I received the name, basically. Okay. I don't think I saw the whole show.
Yeah, we definitely were watching it before you showed up.
Yeah.
So.
anime taste is kind of hard to define now that I get into it. I've logged into my anime list, and I can take you through my number 10 rateds real quick.
Yeah, that's a good first step.
So number 1, Fooly Cooly. That's up there.
Solid. I don't know if we mentioned it in the show, but it's a very. It may or may not be on my list, and have not been revealed yet.
Number 2, Code Geass.
Solid.
More of a classic, but I guess Fooly Cooly is as well.
Yeah, I would say Fooly Cooly is more of a classic than Code Geass, but Code Geass is.
They're both pretty old now.
Yeah, they're both pretty old, but I'm thinking more in terms of like Code Geass is good,
like,
but
Fooly Cooly's like Toonami
classic.
Better. Code Geass was like after I actually got into watching anime on my own.
I feel like Code Geass is one of the first shows people watch where like, oh wait, anime can be good. Like it's not just Naruto.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing against the shows that I like that I started watching, but it's just like it's a very like you hear somebody start to get into anime and it's like, okay, they're watching Death Note and they're watching Code Geass and they're realizing, oh, stuff can be dark and cool and fun and not just
Pokemon and
200
Yu-Gi-Oh,
episodes
that type of stuff.
Of flashbacks. So I should really stop throwing digs at Naruto.
Hey man, everyone likes trash anime. It's fine. You're allowed to like trash anime and still acknowledge that it's trash.
Yep. No,
I've seen all of Naruto at least once.
Yep.
Well,
I saw the filler of Naruto.
I might have skipped the filler.
There's a lot.
I did do a dedicated Naruto watch through where I skipped the filler. At least I've seen a lot of the filler episodes just because it was always on Toonami or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, what else are you gonna do on a Saturday night? Hang out with friends? Yes, that's what we did. But what else were you gonna do with your friends when you hung out on Saturday night? Watch Toonami. That's or whatever show I was discovering at the time. It's
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say that was the golden age of us. It's just picking a show, starting at like 7:00, watching it through, and getting like Steak and Shake at 3 a.m.
And Dylan fell asleep at 4 episodes in.
Yeah, you can't. A mutual friend of ours, Dylan. We want him to guest on the podcast at some point, but he kind of has 3 kids, including a newborn. So when that's going to happen, who knows? But yeah, you couldn't expect him to stay awake after Steak and Shake. He's going to fall asleep. You put food in his tummy, that little guy's falling asleep.
Keeping going with the list, Steingate's up there. Steins Gate.
Yep.
Ping Pong is actually up there for me. It's number 5.
Nice. Is this number 5? Is in you're just going through your list and you're reading?
Yeah, it's sorted by score.
Okay.
Just I don't know if I have it like a defined ordered top 10, but
okay. Yeah,
I have 9 shows that are rated 10 on my anime list.
Okay, I think I have like 20, but yeah.
Yeah, I have a lot of 9s. I try not to give that many 10s, but I also don't watch nearly as much anime as you guys, to be fair.
You probably watch about as much as Shabs.
I go through phases with it, on and off.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's how I live.
That's how I was.
Your Lie in April is up there for me.
That's a good one.
Followed by Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai.
Solid.
Despite the title, very good show.
Yeah,
it's great.
I watched that show because I'm like, we were talking about trash anime. I was like, this is going to be trash. Look at this title. And I watched the first 3 episodes and I'm like, dear God, this is amazing. Let me watch the first 3 episodes again. I must have watched the first 3 episodes of that show like 3 times just because I would be so hyped waiting for the new episodes to come out and be like, you have to watch the first 3 because we on the show we do, I know you haven't listened. On the show we do the thing called Rule of 3 where we watch 3 episodes of a show. If we were to have watched that show, which we very likely would have if we were doing the podcast back then, because it fits the criteria of what the hell is the name of this show. That's
why we watched it.
Yeah, it's like this is the best example of a Rule of 3 you can get. It's just it's a self-contained story that makes me want more, and then I'm gonna keep babbling. Go on.
Finishing off the list, I got Promise Neverland season 1. I heard season 2 was kind of a disappointment. I didn't actually watch it, but I heard that the manga was similarly a disappointment. So
I never watched that one. It's the first one on your list
Oh.
I haven't seen. Well, I guess
It's-
until recently, Ping Pong, I'd
Yeah.
only seen like the first 4 episodes of.
It's
Um,
very good. It is one of the best examples of a suspenseful thriller anime I think I've ever seen.
See, I had it spoiled for me like before it was announced as an anime because I was at a con and somebody was talking about mangas and they were talking about how dark this manga was, and I'm like, yeah, it just felt like dark bait to me. Like I don't really care. Like
It it kind of feels that way, but it's actually not, I think.
okay,
I,
I might
I
have to
like
give
to think
it
of
a
it.
shot.
I like to think of it as if Erased was a good show.
I like
Okay.
the race.
I like
I like
Erased.
Erased too. Don't get me wrong, but it was just so straightforward. It disappointed me.
Yeah,
It was a little disappointing.
yeah, that's I will give that a shot. Like, okay, wait, so he's not I thought he's going to be a red herring and that there's going to be more mystery to it, but it's like, nope,
Nope.
it's just that guy. Okay, I get that, but it started the first half of Race is amazing.
And then let's see, Demon Slayer is my final one that I have at rating 10.
Okay,
Um,
I think I would give Demon Slayer an 8, but it is very, very
That's
solid.
fair. That's fair. I think after watching it as a whole, I would probably put Haikyuu up there as well. Haikyuu is a very, very good show.
I haven't seen Haikyuu.
Another sports anime.
I'm not super big into sports anime because I'm not
That's
super
fair.
big into sports. But every sports anime I watch, I tend to like. So I guess we can go off topic here a little bit and transition into the main show. Talk about sports anime a little bit. I'll talk about my impressions on Ping Pong at the end. But you guys seen Chihayafuru? I know Shabs, you started watching it but didn't finish.
I have not. That's one that I definitely need to watch. I just haven't gotten around to it.
It's got 3 seasons, and I desperately want a 4th because it's starting to get real good. And then the 3rd season ends, and you're like, come on, I need to know what happens next. Not your typical sports anime, but it's a competition.
Yeah, I don't know if I would
anime.
describe Karuta as a sport, but
But it follows the formula of sports
it,
anime.
yeah, that's fair.
And it's like competition anime. Because the other anime, sports, quote unquote, sports anime I was going to mention that I remember liking is called Fastest Finger First, which is
Fastest finger first.
it's about Quiz Bowl. So
Okay, all right.
it's just 13 episodes about Quiz Bowl. Which I guess another thing of our history, Pants and I were on it was called Scholar Bowl at our school, but we were on the Quiz Bowl team. And you were captain. I'm assuming you were captain senior year. I didn't actually
I
get
think
it.
I was. I don't remember.
I was co-captain, which does not mean sub-captain. We were equal partners, but it was a little like, come on, this other guy is also captain. I guess, sure, but I played every game, so I really couldn't complain.
Mhm.
And you were probably the one person that I would say like, we should probably get him, because we typically just did juniors and seniors on varsity, and freshman and sophomore on JV, but like senior, I was like, we should really get Ben on varsity some of these games, which we had pretty low attendance sometimes. So that ended up happening, I think, at least once.
I think so. Honestly, I don't remember much of Scholar Bowl anymore,
well,
other than yelling Excelsior on the bus.
I don't remember that. That must have been after
I think that was
graduated.
an Eddie Seymour thing.
I don't.
Inside jokes, Scholar Bowl jokes.
Another person, we just mentioned their first and last name. Let's just name drop the person that's.
I love name dropping.
Name dropping people nobody knows. Except for us.
Starting to feel like an episode of The Good Place.
Is that? I don't remember the name. Oh, okay, yeah. Never mind. I've seen all the Good Place. I know. I'm like, well, they name dropping the Good Place. I'm like, yes, of course. One character
All the
does it
time.
all the dang time.
That's her
our
thing.
Yeah, but people know those people.
That's fair. They're all just famous.
Yeah. Oh, maybe one of these days, Eddie Seymour will be famous. Who knows?
Maybe.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I guess, do you guys have any sports anime you want to talk about?
I mean, I've seen a lot of them.
Oh,
Surprisingly,
did you start watching the Kabaddi anime that we told you
no,
about?
I forgot about that, dude. That
Okay.
just left my brain as soon as you mentioned it. I'm like, what? There's no way that this is a real thing.
It's
The
so
real
hype.
thing.
It's one of the few shows we covered it on our Rule of Spring where we watched a bunch of the spring anime. We covered it on there. It's one of the few shows we're still watching week to week. It's hype as hell, man.
7 out of 10 on my anime list. That's honestly pretty solid.
It's
The last few
I'm impressed.
episodes, I think, have dropped a little bit, but like the beginning is just great.
beginning's great. Well, and then they had the competition with the other school. That was pretty hype stuff. And then now they're just kind
That's
of
true.
back. They're kind of back like, we got some more people joining and we're going back to practice. So, but
Yeah,
they're gonna pick up with another game, the next episode. So,
it should pick back up.
yeah. But anyway, yeah, no, Burning Kabaddi, other sports anime that I remember. I watched a soccer anime in like junior high. I don't remember what it was called, but it was about a junior high soccer team. That's all I remember.
Okay, I don't think that there have been that many noteworthy soccer animes. So you're probably not missing out on that much.
I mean, there's one airing this season about girls soccer,
Hmm.
which we watched the first 3 episodes of. But I don't know. I'll Google one of these days. I'll get unlazy enough to Google soccer anime and be like, oh yeah, it was this one. But I don't care that much about it. I might have read some of
I mean,
Ice
yeah.
Shield 21.
Okay.
Because I think it was in Shonen Jump when I was getting Shonen Jump, or at least like they had a sports issue of Shonen Jumps once. I
I
don't
think
know.
this is my first ever sports anime I've watched through.
Yeah,
I
I would.
mean,
I'm the sports guy, but this is my first sports anime.
I've watched a lot of them. I mean, going back to like Prince of Tennis, not a good show, by the way.
I own the first episode of Prince of Tennis on DVD. Just the first
Not,
episode.
not a good show. Um, yeah, from like Prince of Tennis to Kuroko Basketball to Keijo.
Oh God, I never finished Keijo.
That's a sports anime.
It is, yes. Yeah, I guess that was. You want to name drop again? That was a show that our roommate Dale wanted to watch a lot, and it's like, I can't keep doing this, Dale. Like, luckily, the last episode aired over winter break, so I never had to watch it.
Surprisingly a pretty competent anime once you get past the fan service.
Oh yeah,
but...
no, I mean it was fine. I enjoyed it. Don't get me wrong. I'm just like, why do I have to keep watching this? Okay, I mean, I guess.
Yeah, I watched all of Kuroko Basketball. I actually watched all of Hajime no Ippo as well. Boxing
That's supposed
anime.
to be really good though. That's
It's
classic.
forever long, but it is a classic. It's pretty good. I liked Megalobox too. That was a more recent one.
I've been wanting to watch that, but it's always like, maybe some
Yeah,
other
it's
time.
it's an adaptation of Ashita no Joe. So it's basically the same storyline as that, which is an older boxing anime, I believe.
Yeah, I've heard of that one. The name sounds familiar, but it's basically that, but or the same storyline but different characters and settings, or
Yeah, it's they like future or like steampunked it, I guess. Not really futurized. They all wear like robotic arm attachments, basically.
That's all I know about it, is that they wear robot arms.
Yeah, it's got a pretty cool soundtrack, and everything looks great.
We might have to watch that soon. I'm sure I'll get bored one of these weekends that Shabs has to work, and I'll just put on something and watch all of it in one sitting.
If a young sorry, this is the top of my anime list review. Gave it an 8 and said, if a young Hajime no Ippo made an illegitimate baby with a sexy cougar, Cowboy Bebop.
Okay, yeah, I get that vibe from it.
It does have a very Cowboy Bebop kind of universe.
That's what I get from the art, is that it's like more gritty, kind of older looking animation, but it is new, so it's not quite the same there. But that's the impression I get from the stills that I've seen, or maybe just like the cover. I mean, should we actually go into talking about the anime that's going to be on the episode title? Should we get into that?
Sure.
Okay. So
We spent all this time talking about sports anime. Let's talk about a quote unquote sports anime.
Yeah. So
'Cause I don't know if I would consider ping pong a traditional sports anime.
it does not follow the shonen. We're going to, progressively get better and then have a bunch of tournaments and competitions and stuff. It's more.
There's exactly 2 tournaments.
Yep, exactly 2. There's not a lot that really happens in this anime. Don't get me wrong. I love this show. This is great. I would probably give it a 9 if I had to rate it, but it's just ugly / beautiful art style. Is that the best way to describe? It's Masaki Yuasa. Is it the director's name? I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So it's pretty typical for his animation to be weird looking, but then very striking and beautiful at times too. I mean, I'm just thinking the only other show of his I've seen to completion is Devilman Crybaby. I've watched a little bit of Tatami Galaxy, and I really need to watch more of it. But yeah, it's just like you look at it at first glance, you're like, this looks weird, and then you get to the Kazuma versus China match in the first tournament, and you're like, oh, this is real shit going on here. I wrote down biblical. I couldn't think of a better term. It was like playing ping pong against a thunderstorm. It was like, okay, this is what you can do with this animation, and it's worth it for the weirdness that it has other times. So, what are your guys' impressions? I mean, obviously, Ben, you gave it a 10. But what are your thoughts? Not talking spoilers yet, but what are your thoughts?
I mean, I think it's just a pretty complete package as far as a story goes. It's got the art, it's got the characters. Every character in this anime that they actually go into in depth just feels so real to me.
Yeah. No, I think you're right there. That it's like, oh, these are real people. Like, and that's not a lot happens because not a lot really. Life is pretty boring sometimes.
Yeah. I will say the one time the one thing I guess that I noticed in like the middle third of the anime going through it this time around, despite there only being 2 tournaments, the time frame feels weird to me because they're all still first years in high school, at least Hoshino and Tsukimoto.
Are they still first years? I thought it was.
They are, yeah. No, I don't think it was.
I could have sworn it was a year later.
Yeah, that second tournament was a year later because it's the same tournament. It's definitely a year later. I remember there being like some throwaway line about it being, the same, a different vibe, even though only a year.
Yeah, the second Inter High was a year later for sure.
Yeah. No, what were you?
Just like in the middle, going through like Hoshino's like dark phase or whatever you want to call it, his depression phase.
Okay.
He grows out his hair.
Okay.
Yeah,
and becomes tan. All this has to have happened in like
a
month.
Yeah,
maybe 2.
Okay. Because when that happened, they show Hoshino with like long hair. I'm like, who's this new guy?
I mean,
like, oh wait.
Yeah, he grew chubby and he got a tan. He's been bumming on a beach for a little while. I don't know where I was going with that. You threw me off for a second because you're calling them by their real names, and I only wrote down some of the nicknames.
I can do Peko and Smile.
Yeah,
that's fine.
No, but I got it as soon as like, okay, which one is Hoshimoto and which one is Tsukimoto?
Combine their names.
Hoshino and Tsukimoto. Which one is which?
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, yeah. Tsukimoto is Smile. So
yes.
Yes.
I mean, Ben Shabs, I should say. What are your impressions on the?
Kind of just what other Ben said. It's a fantastic show. I mean, you would expect some more sports anime tropes like training and trying to get better, but they do that, but they don't focus much on the training itself, but more on the characters and kind of their, I guess, training.
Yeah.
Not so much the ping pong skills, but kind of learning who they are and why they love ping pong, or like why they're playing it.
Yeah, I mean
So
that's something they delve into. That's one of the I think one of the I mean I'm not an expert, but I think one of the themes of the show is what are you who are you competing for? Are you doing this because you like playing ping pong? Are you doing this because you're good at it and you feel obligated to do it? And then that kind of goes into also hard work versus talent, and like they're both important. They're neither of them are enough to really make it in the ping pong world. You got to have both. And then I think the ultimate like answer the show is going for is you also have to love the game to make it far. But that's kind of getting more into the spoilery territory of what happens towards the end. Do we want to kind of dive into the characters now? We're not going to be doing an episode by episode synopsis because honestly, I could not tell you what happens in what episodes, and a lot of it just kind of blends in his day-to-day life and stuff. So it's, but we've got our two main characters. Yeah, can't speak today. I can't speak any day. Our two main characters are Hoshino and Tsukimoto. Did I get that right?
yep.
Okay. So Hoshino, he's normally called his nickname Peko. I don't know if that means anything, but that's his nickname. And then Tsukimoto is called Smile a lot, and we're told it's because he never smiles. So it's like a sarcastic bully nickname of his. They're both the best players of ping pong on their school's team, despite being first years. They've known each other since they were children. Tsukimoto typically lets Peko win. I don't know if that's intentional or if he's doing it unconsciously, if it's always been that way. Well, I don't think it's always been that way, but like if it's just kind of something that he doesn't want to hurt his friend's feelings, because that's kind of his hurdle to overcome, is that he doesn't really care about the sport. He's or at first he doesn't really care about it. He
doesn't care about winning.
Yeah. He says playing ping pong and English vocab are just ways to pass the time till I die. I think what he says towards the beginning. So he's like, well, all these other people have so much writing on these games. Like he'll let Wingay, whose nickname is China, because he's Chinese. I guess that's a good enough reason for a nickname.
Yeah.
He let him win basically because he had more writing on it than he's like, I don't need to win. Why? What will winning ultimately do for me? It's not something I aspire to do.
Yeah.
Which, pisses his coach off, but I think his coach is trying to get him to want to win and enjoy playing the game because he's sees talent in him or whatever.
Yeah, I think it's like a subconscious thing with him, being, because he considers himself a robot. It's likely that he reads a lot into other people and what he thinks they're feeling. So when he picks up on things like Wingay's frustration that he needs to win to get out of Japan, it's gonna defeat his drive to win, basically. Like he doesn't need that compared to Wingay.
Yeah. So he's
it's the same way with Peko, because Smile looks up to Peko so much and considers him like a hero. It's a subconscious thing. Obviously, you don't want to beat your hero.
Yeah. No, I mean, I feel like the Pecco thing was definitely always subconscious. I feel like the China one was deliberate because he like just started throwing things that were like everyone was also like, oh, he's throwing it. Like I feel like that was a deliberate choice he made.
That one was deliberate, yeah, but
Yes.
it's because he picked up on China's frustration about losing. I mean,
Yeah. Which I mean, we can go into China a little bit later here. I want to say a few things about Pecco and kind of where he's at the start. Full of himself.
I cut off for just a sec.
Yeah.
Pecco in Japanese apparently means, or pecco means a state of being intensely hungry.
Okay.
So I'm assuming Pecco is just because he's always eating.
He is always eating like candy and like weird.
Yeah.
He's like this. I got this weird candy or whatever. Yeah, I could see that. Sure, why not?
Yeah.
That's
Well, his name makes sense. His nickname makes sense.
But he starts out thinking he's hot shit, and he is for his school. And
Yeah.
then they go hear about Wingay. They're like, hey, let's go see, try to scope out the competition and spy on China. So they just ditch practice. And then they don't see anybody in the school that he goes to, in the gym practicing ping pong. I guess they're running laps. I think.
Pretty classic sports anime trope. Both going to spy on the competition and running laps.
Yeah. So they just start playing a game, and then China hears them playing the game and goes to. He can tell that Smile is better, but is letting the other guy win, which is like, okay, yeah, I'm sure that's real. I'm sure real ping pong players can just tell from the sound exactly what's happening. I'm sure that's a real thing. Thanks sports anime for making me think that. But then
honestly, he probably couldn't even hear it because he was outside.
Yeah, he says the wind makes it hard to hear. It's like, okay, well then quit being so elitist about it. Whatever. Not important. They hear him playing. He goes. He wants to play Smile, but Pecco plays him instead. So he just trounces Pecco, skunks him. 11-0. No win for Pecco, which kind of gets him depressed for a little bit. He rallies a bit at the first tournament, and then he goes up against another childhood friend, who he calls Akuma, which is demon in Japanese, but I believe his name is actually Sakuma, so it's just an S in front of the word demon. Somebody he's never lost to before, somebody he's clearly better than, and then he just basically gets humiliated by him. The guy only sends lobs at him, and he keeps returning with slams, and he just keeps lobbing it higher and higher, and then he it's like the most boring game of ping pong, and then he loses, which kind of goes into the talent versus hard work dynamic that they have going on. Pecco is more talented. They make it very clear that he's more talented than Sakuma, and then Sakuma just put in the work and knew to play to his weaknesses and was able to beat him. And then he just gets he quits ping pong for, like you said, the time span is weird. It seems like it'd be like a couple of months or like a year, but it's probably only like 1 or 2 months. But that's
probably close to like 3 or 4, at least.
I don't know. Timeline gets weird, as we mentioned.
Yeah, I guess the whole show has to take place over the course of like 2 full school years, right? Something like that.
It'd be 1.5 full school years or something, because I think the second tournament is I think that's towards the beginning of the school year, if I had to guess. Otherwise, we don't get a lot of time in between when the show starts and when the first tournament is. So I just assumed it was towards the beginning. Maybe not. Maybe it's midway through. But yeah, no, it's the tournaments are my only guideposts as to how long time has passed. So
right.
Only a year has passed between the two of them. I mean, do we want to talk about Wingate, China's motivations, how they develop him as a character? I feel like I'm doing all the talking.
Yeah, sure.
So Wingay, sorry, I'll do it. Wingay is a Chinese player. He gets kicked off of his team in China, so he basically goes to Japan to essentially win his spot back.
Yeah, he's slumming it until he can get back into the big leagues in China. So,
and he comes in with like a very, I'm Chinese, we're the best, I'm going to beat anybody, it doesn't really matter, this is easy.
He refuses to learn Japanese.
Mm-hmm.
And then he gets paid by the school he goes to, right? They're like,
they flew him in. Yeah, they flew him in to be a coach, basically / player. It's a weird dynamic.
Yeah, the coach is like, I mean, we got all this money, but I don't know a lick about ping pong.
Fly this Chinese guy in, come make our team better.
And he's got a cocky attitude. He trounces Pecco at the tournament.
He goes into that first tournament. He goes into that thinking he's just gonna breeze through it, and he'll be back in China by morning or whatever. But then he runs into Kazuma and gets thrashed.
Well, he runs into Smile first, and then
he runs into Smile first.
Yeah, then realizes that Smile threw it, and then he played Kazuma. And probably my favorite scene of the show is that match, because it's just, I mean, it's like
it's visually impeccable.
Yeah. So watch it just for that, and then if you stop watching after that, that's fine. You're missing a lot of good stuff, but that's fine. And then, so then he just gets trounced. His only redeeming factor is that Kazuma then became the junior Olympic champion.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, well, of course you lost to him. We all lost to him. You just happen to face him first. But after that, he's kind of like, I guess I'll stay. I mean, this is my lot in life. I'll stay in Japan. I'll start learning Japanese. I'll try to be a real coach. There's like recurring bit where like the next best guy on the team is like, hey, I did this good. And he's like, yeah, you're doing great. One day you'll be able to beat me. And they're like, really? It's like, no, you're never going to be that good. But but then he's like, yeah, maybe. Who knows? Maybe you have talent that hard work will discover eventually. But no, you'll never be that good. Which is like
sorry, I feel like China's just main kind of, I guess, arc is just acceptance almost. It's like, all right, I'm not going to go back to China, but I'm actually learning to like Japan. So it's like, I'm going to make the most of it, I guess.
Yep. Kind of learning to roll with the punches that life dealt him, and finding out how to be happy in spite of those.
Yeah.
And I mean, and like spoilers for the last episode, he's a naturalized Japanese citizen, and he's on the Japanese national team. Like he's still, despite the fact that he thought his career in ping pong was over after losing that tournament, he's, it's never too late. You can bounce back. If you got the talent and the drive, you can do a lot. I mean, so I guess we talked a lot about Kazuma so far, and I guess a little bit about Akuma as well, because those are the only two real characters I care about. I mean, I guess like the coaches are kind of interesting, and like Kazuma's cousin is, but they're not nearly as interesting, I think, as Kazuma and Akuma, or Sakuma, whatever you want to call him.
Kazuma's cousin, the girl?
Yeah, the girl.
Okay.
Then there's like the co-captain of the school that Kazuma and Akuma go to. He's another B tier character.
Just kind of a foil character.
Somebody that is there to be impressive and then be beaten by one of the main characters. So Kazuma is the best ping pong player in the world or whatever at this point. Their whole school takes the top 4 at that first tournament. And then, like I said, he won the Junior Olympics. He's like the grandson of a sports equipment
Famous
conglomerate.
slash old ping pong player.
Yeah, slash old professional ping pong player, or
Mhm.
so he's got a lot of pressure on him to do well. His dad fell out of favor, and I think did his dad commit suicide, or did he just die of an accident? It's kind of vague
I
about
think it
how
was implied suicide, but it's kind of hard to tell.
yeah. So he's feeling all this pressure, and he's like, I just have to keep working hard, even though I'm not having fun. This is just, I can't let my talent and my hard work go to waste. So I just have to keep being miserable.
I think he's also trying to like reclaim his family name or like his family's honor.
Yeah, but like he distanced himself from like his real parents though too. Like he doesn't, he like his cousin is always trying to get him like call my aunt, call your mom, tell her that you did good in the tournament, and he never does. But he never really pays anybody much attention.
He just trains.
Yeah, and he's like trying to also convince Smile to transfer schools and join his school, and just keeps putting down his team. Like, yeah, we're good, but we need, we're slacking. We need this guy. We need more players like this guy who's not at my school to join. And the rest of the team was like, what the fuck, dude? We're working hard as hell. You don't acknowledge us whatsoever.
Basically, he's just a kid, really, who just has way too much pressure put on him by his grandfather to succeed and grow the brand and do all this shit. But he just wants to figure out how to enjoy ping pong.
Yeah. Well, and I don't think he's looking for how to enjoy ping pong, but I mean, we'll just go full spoilers here. When he faces Peko in the semifinals of the second tournament, despite the fact that Peko is like severely injured with a knee injury, he's just like, wait a minute, ping pong can be fun. Like, this dude is trouncing my ass, and he's just jumping around, having the most fun. He doesn't have to. I mean, they use like the metaphor of like, oh, he's flying, he's taking the easy way, and he's still reaching the top. Meanwhile, I've been climbing when I could have been flying this whole time. Like, so that's his one turnaround point where he's like, oh, okay, the thing I'm missing is enjoying the game. I had the hard work, I had the talent, but I was not enjoying the game, and that's why I finally lost, because finally somebody with all three came along. You mentioned that Smile thinks of Peko as his hero. That's reinforced by the show a lot.
Yeah.
Smile is the robot and Peko is the hero. And then Peko and Smile face each other in the finals of that tournament. It was one of the few notes I have on this show, because I'm like, what do I take notes on? They're like, can you do it? Can you attack your friend when he has a weak point? And he's like, I know the weak point of somebody with a knee injury. You switch sides constantly, quick and fast. And then it's like, well, you called him your hero earlier. What do you do when you attack a hero's weak point? And he just says, heroes don't have weak points. And sure enough, he lost. So, it's just that's the thing. Peko's the hero. His journey was remembering that, wait a minute, I didn't call Smile because he never smiled. I called him Smile because he only smiled when he was having fun playing ping pong. And it's my fault that he's not having fun playing ping pong, because I've been a boring ping pong player for the last couple of years. And I'm finally back to being, the player I should be. Or at least that's my take on it. What are your guys' thoughts?
Seems pretty much right to me.
Yeah, I think you hit it on the nail.
Side note, I don't know if either of you guys picked up on it, but the song that Smile always hums, is the song Peko on the soundtrack, the hero's theme.
Yeah, I picked up. I saw the thing where they're like, "Oh yeah, we made up this song and we said this is the song of the hero." I did not know the song itself was called Peko on the soundtrack, but I mean, that's obviously they made up the song and then said it was the song of the hero, and then the show called it Peko. So, Which, I mean, we can talk about the music. I'm not super great at music stuff, but the opening that's a fucking jam.
Whole soundtrack is a jam, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, that's the
Yeah,
thing. I barely pay attention to sound. Like, I just don't notice it. I don't think to listen to it closely, which might be a credit to the soundtrack because it just feels like a natural part of the scene and not necessarily like, oh, there's this cool song playing. It's just, oh, they're ramping up my emotions, or at least that's what I tell myself so I can sleep at night, being like, how do I not know if a soundtrack is good or not? Why am I not paying attention to this? The closing is, I can't remember the closing actually, but I think it's also pretty good.
So speaking of like the
I
music,
don't know the names of the opening or closing right offhand, but they are both pretty good.
So talking about the music in episode 3, I think it's Smiles match with China. There's a part where like there's no music, but it's just Smile humming. It was perfect. I thought it was great.
Yeah, he was like, even when China was winning at the beginning, he's just humming. What is he doing?
Yeah,
like it was. Yeah, that was cool sound design there. So. Okay, well, I mean, do you guys have anything else you want to say about Pong the Animation other than definitely go watch the show?
10 out of 10? 100 out of 100?
What is it?
You only give it a 9.
Perfect score, 7 out of 12. What is the...
5 out of 7? Perfect score?
Yeah, perfect score, 5 out of 7. I forget what that's from. But I guess, let's transition here. This might be a little bit of a shorter episode, but let's
just before we transition.
Yeah.
My rating, I wrote down, it's at least a 9, maybe a 10. I'd probably lean closer to a 10. And if you want to watch it, it's on Funimation.
Oh,
we never say where it's at.
Yes, we should note, if you want to watch the show, it's streaming on Funimation. The last show we covered, Bakano, is not streaming anywhere except for you can maybe buy the first 3 episodes on YouTube. So check your local library. That's how we watched it. We got our local library to order it in from a different local library, and we watched it that way for the last show, Bakano. I don't know where the rest of the stuff was streaming at, but you can watch this one on Funimation. We're not sponsored by them at all, because why would they sponsor us?
Yet.
Okay, and then
another quick note.
Yeah.
If you have watched this show, you like it, you like the art style specifically, can't recommend enough. Go watch Keep Your Hands Off Eizouken.
I need to watch that too.
An anime about making anime. It's great.
We're gonna have to watch that. I'm gonna have to watch that one of these days because we were debating doing that show or doing this show. Honestly, we're like, if we
narrowed it down to this director. We narrowed it down to Masaki Yuasa.
And we're like, if we do this, then we're more likely to get you to come onto the show. So we're like, okay. I think the timeline was I texted you, hey, if we cover Pong the Animation, will you be a guest on our show? And then we started recording the podcast, and maybe 2 hours after we got done recording, you said, yeah, sure, sounds fun, or something along those lines. And we had already said that, yes, we're covering it. It's like, if we don't get them, fine. If we do get them, great. We're most likely to get them. But, yeah, we'll have to watch Keep Your Hands Off Eizouken. This director's done a lot of stuff. Most recently, I think, is Japan Sinks, which I've heard mixed things about. Devilman Crybaby. Yeah. Devilman Crybaby. Devilman Crybaby has been getting... I mean, everyone, flipped out on that show. And to be fair, it is very, very good. It's the only other show of his I've watched completely through. Tatami Galaxy is like his classic. So I want to, I want to watch that at one point. Another friend of ours, let's name drop again. Our friend Hank keeps wanting me to watch that show. So I might have to finally watch that. And he's got a couple of movies. One of them is a prequel/sequel to Tatami Galaxy called Night is Long, Walk On Girl. One of them is called something like, Ride Your Wave or something. Yep. I think he's got another movie, but yeah, he's he's up there with some of the best, anime directors in the scene, and he's still making stuff. So some of the other, anime directors aren't doing as much these days, but he's making stuff. He makes more shows than movies, but I think his movies have all been well received. So, Shabs, do you want to reveal your number 8 favorite anime on your list?
All right, number 8 anime on my list is Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Okay. So, I mean, I love this show. Spoiler alert, it's higher up on my list. Pants, have you seen all of Ava, or is that a show that you've seen snippets of because you're friends with me and Hank? And
I haven't seen the full original series. I think I've seen the first 3 movies.
Okay. Well, those
I don't know if we ever got
turn.
together to watch the 4th one, but
well, I mean, the 4th one just came out this year, so no. I don't think it's released yet. I mean, it's released in Japan, but I don't think there's a way for us to legally watch it yet. So, no. It might have played in theaters limitedly in America. I don't know if it has or not, but
I don't think it did.
Yeah, but hey, we're vaccinated now. If it comes out in theaters, we can mask up and go watch it. So,
but yeah, Neon Genesis Evangelion. This might technically be the first anime I ever watched, because this was one of those shows where it's like you would be watching it and I'd come to your house and you would still be watching it. So I'm just like, well, I guess I'm watching this now.
What a show to be introduced to anime with.
Yeah, so I might have watched like End of Evangelion first.
I mean, I showed well, the night you're probably thinking of is I'll name drop again, our friend Table. That's not his real name, but that's what we call him. It's similar to how we call you Pants, though his has less of a meaning.
Is it a real name drop? If you name drop with Table?
I mean, tables are pretty heavy, so if you dropped it, it must be, like a solid drop, right? So, no, but like I'm like, hey, you need to watch all of this show. And I think I did something similar with Steins Gate with him, but I'm like, you need to come over early in the morning on Saturday and watch all this show. And like we took a break to go get lunch, and then it went on until late at night, and I'm sure you joined us that night. I mean, when I first watched End of Ava, it was like it got over with and it was 6 a.m. in Hank's basement, and I'm like, this is good. Which is like, we just kind of need to like sit here and think, being like super tired and in this state of like, what's going on? It's the closest I've ever felt to being high. So, I assume that's what it's like, but whatever.
It's just a fantastic show. It's your classic, I don't know, it's kind of hard to describe, just the animation of it, the designs. The story might not be for everybody, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
I just think it's great.
Yeah, no, it's a classic for a reason. It's I don't really know what to say. I'm sure I'll talk about it again when it gets up on my list. But Pants, you should watch Ava. Don't watch it with us, because we're never gonna get. We're never gonna hang out long enough to watch a full anime series these days. Damn you full-time jobs and wanting to go to bed at 11 or midnight instead of 3 in the morning. Yeah, and when we do get together, we just play board games or Magic. So, anything you want to plug, Ben? You've told people to watch Keep Your Hands Off Isaacin. You're not really like a famous person or anything, so I don't know if I think you said you didn't have anything to plug, but now's your chance to do it.
This is where I let you have dead air for 2 minutes.
That's what I had to say. Like,
no, I've got nothing.
Okay.
Watch more anime. Is good stuff. Good stuff.
Yep. Yeah. So follow us on Twitter and at anime_territory. I tweet out occasionally. I'll tweet the episode when it drops. Well, I'll tweet the episode like 10 hours after it releases, because I go to bed and it releases at midnight, and then when I think about it the next morning, I tweet about it. You can listen to the show on Spotify or Anchor or Google Podcasts. I don't know if we're on Apple Podcasts yet. I don't think we are. It was supposed to automatically be added, but I don't think it ever went through. If we're on there, let us know. You can subscribe to YouTube if you want. There are 2 anime territories on YouTube. We're the one that's a podcast. I don't know what the other person does. Next episode, we are going to be watching Eden of the East and maybe the Eden of the East movies. This is streaming on Funimation. We had to check that real quick and make sure it was streaming somewhere before we did it. This anime, I haven't seen it in a very long time, but it does hold a special place because it is where Pants' nickname came from. We were watching the show, and then he showed up. There's a character in the show called Pants, and we're like, man, we need to give somebody that nickname. That's a great nickname. And then Ben Feldick showed up, and we turned to him and we're like, yes, this is who will have this nickname. And then we've been calling you Pants ever since. So that's what, like, 6 years ago, 7 years ago.
Yep. It stuck to the point where I have introduced myself to other people as Pants. So,
have you introduced yourself to people that don't know me as Pants?
Yeah. I have a whole other friend group that all calls me Pants.
Okay, yeah.
That's great.
That's dedication to the nickname. It's like, these friends call me Pants because there's 2 Bens in the friend group, and it's a joke that there's so many Bens. But no, you're just Pants.
Just
That's
Pants.
me. It's part of my identity now. So.
That is my Super Smash Brothers Melee gamer tag.
Oh,
because
it's not what your gamer tag always is. It's the
no Zarkius is too much. 3 syllables is too much. I wanted a 1-syllable name for something that people could shout at tournaments, and I would hear it from across the room and be like, "Yep, that's me."
Somebody just yelled Pants. Yeah, that's the guy playing. What?
Yep.
Okay.
Is his name Pants?
Absolutely.
What were his parents thinking?
So yeah, everyone of my friends from St. Louis area and all call me Pants. Pretty great.
All right. Yeah. So until next time, Pants, we got to have you on again if you're willing to go through this again. It probably would have made more sense if we had you on for Eden of the East, but we decided we were doing that today. So, it's already set in stone. But yeah, so next fortnight we'll see you, and then we don't have a sign off, so have fun or whatever.
Bye.